Live thing. Okay, you're live, it says. Testing everyone. Good afternoon, Richard Nunez. What is good? Welcome to the show. Okay, there we go. We might finally be live. Well, it's good. It's Hungarian Grand Prix day, and what a day we had yesterday. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all enjoying your day so far, and it's Grand Prix day, final Grand Prix before the summer break. We have 2-3 weeks off after this. There's a mandated 14-day off period for all of the teams during the summer break, because otherwise they get worked to the bone, and that means this is the final Grand Prix before the summer break and the final Grand Prix before we come back at the end of the month, I think, for the Dutch Grand Prix in the Netherlands. But thankfully yesterday was quite the day. We had an awful lot happening, and it creates a very exciting Grand Prix. I think there was a feeling in the F1 community, and for good reason, that, oh, well, Max is out of the picture now. It's Lando versus Oscar. Oscar seems mentally stronger. Like, you know, what are the storylines, right? But it shows that any given weekend, anything is possible. And there is a Ferrari on pole, and there was a world where there was an Aston Martin on pole. And there was very easily a world where there was a Mercedes on pole, because George Russell made it. I don't know where Russell made his mistake, but he said that on his lap he lost about a tenth with it. He had a bit of a moment, and he was 0.05 away from pole position. What's good, Anos? Thanks for the 5 Canadian. Would I be open to streaming the Grand Prix? Yeah, I would be. There's a couple of things, right? Because obviously I want to make the video just after the Grand Prix is over, and sometimes I actually like to relax and watch the race, but I will do some watch-alongs at some point, working on a couple of things to make that very possible. So, yeah, hopefully after the summer break we will do... Oh, was it the final corner? Yeah, it makes sense, right? Rear tyres are giving out, final corner, bit of a moment. So George could have had pole. The McLarens, it was very interesting, because I was talking all weekend how that McLaren is a rocket ship, and I'm not going to pretend that it's not. But as we know, well, the point is, can you find a weakness in that car? And it turns out that the weakness seems to be when the wind turns, the car just had a bit more understeer than the drivers were expecting, and Lando extracted a bit more lap time. Piastri couldn't go any faster on his second lap. Again, it's like, for Lando's perspective, the opportunity for pole was there. He's come to this track 6 times. He's out-qualified his teammates every time, but he finds himself third. It's not the end of the world, but, okay, I'm thinking Miami. You guys remember in Miami, Max was in front, Piastri overtook him, and then Lando took... It's not like Lando took longer to overtake him, if you guys remember what happened in Miami. Piastri, it's not like Piastri got past Max cleanly in Miami either, but he got past in a way that lost him not much time. When Lando got past Max, his battles with Max cost him loads of time to the leader. And I just wonder whether that could happen today, where Leclerc holds off Piastri for, I don't know, 10 laps, but then maybe he holds off Lando for another few more laps, and by the time Lando gets past, if his racecraft isn't very clean, and we know that that has sometimes been the case, that maybe Lando, again, is not in position to fight. But we'll see what the pace looks like in the Grand Prix. I think, you know, if there is a move for the lead, I'd back Piastri to get it done more than Norris in the head-to-head. But I will say, Turn 1 over the last few years here has been rather dramatic. When Hamilton was on pole, even last year, they went 3 wide into Turn 1. It was Norris, Max, and Piastri went down the inside and got a bit of a cutback. Anything, like Turn 1, anything can happen. Now, weather forecast is interesting. I did see some talk that it was going to rain, but I don't really think that it is. But, you know, maybe we just throw heavy rain with a thunderstorm emoji in the stream title, then more people click on it. But as far as I can tell, I don't think it is going to rain. Weather radar Budapest. I don't know if I'm going to trust these weather radars anymore, because I'm getting a yellow thunderstorm warning. There actually is a thunderstorm on the way, but maybe it's not moving in the right direction. Let's have a look at this. Or maybe it is. Oh, I don't know. You know, all right, whatever. Let's bring it up on the screen. Let me tease you guys with the rain that's probably never going to arrive, but we can look at it anyway, because why not? Let me go big screen. There we go. Quality production as always. Anyway, welcome everyone. Yeah, we'll talk about George. We'll talk about Lewis. We'll talk about everything. Just make sure everything's nice and centered. This is the forecast. Green, of course, is rain. And this is now at 2 p.m. Oh, but it's, yeah, so this is 2 p.m. local time. So the race is going to start at 3, which is here. Now, the circuit is just north of Budapest. I don't know if I'll be able to find the circuit here. It's around here somewhere. It's not that, obviously. It's the circuit is like near Fort or whatever. That's a horrific pronunciation. It's somewhere up here anyway. Maybe it's more like here. There it is. There we go. We found it. We found it. Well done. There's the Hungarian. And if we go to 3:10, there's nothing. 3:30, and then we go back to start. But okay, let me zoom out. So I don't know. It seems to suggest that there is possible rain. Obviously, it's a bit glitchy, isn't it here? So F3. I didn't watch F3, but I did watch the F2, and it was good. It's always pretty good. Anyway, we'll come back to that. I'll come back to the weather forecast in the coming minutes to see what's going on. But yeah, thanks all. Welcome to the chat. Drop a like on the stream if you guys are enjoying /new. First lap drama ? I should probably put that in the title as well. But we're going to leave it for today. We're going to leave it nice and simple for today. And we're going to talk about what happened yesterday. So if you guys are just joining, this is the graphic for pole. I guess we can start with Aston Martin because I think we kind of have to. It's, I don't know what's gone on there. And yeah, Q3 was strange. Everyone went a lot slower than Q2 because the wind changed direction and that seemed to affect the McLarens more than others. There was a tweet here that I have from De Kessa and he said the following. So in Q2, the McLaren was doing 318 kph down the straight. In Q3, that dropped by 10 kilometers an hour because the winds completely changed. It changed the balance at the front of the car. They had unexpected understeer, poor traction. But the McLaren suffer with that more than the other teams, which is very interesting, really. Because, as I say, there's not been a weakness of that McLaren. It's been impossible to find a weakness. So I guess the weakness is, if you're another team, you've just got to hope that the conditions change at the optimal moment. And maybe you can figure it out. Stroll going bowling turn 1. Like, if we get some drops of rain at the start, you can never counter that. Well, I'll be watching Optic Halo later. I will say on Halo, their events always go so late at night in Europe. So I probably will tune in, but I don't think I'll be able to watch the entire thing. I will be in bed by the time Salt Lake City, that tournament concludes. So anyway, that's what happened to McLaren. Both of the drivers were going yellow, and it opens the door for Charles Leclerc to put in a mega lap and stick it on pole. And you're like, Aston Martin, let's just do it real quick, because Lance Stroll, I mean, you know, when are you going to see this? The first thing to say here is that Stroll was a 10th off pole, and he was 6th, right? Like, a 10th is literally the blink of an eye. And all the positions, P1 to P10 in the final part of quali was the closest they've ever been. It was less than 6/10 between first and last in the final part of qualifying. Crazy close gaps. All of those drivers will think they could have got pole. I mean, Max was 3.5 off pole, and he was 8th, right? So that just shows the gap. And I think also obviously we're going to discuss Hamilton and his struggle yesterday, but it's like, but the same applies for Yuki, right? It's not like they're far away, but it's just like a big difference, right? Like if you're a 10th off your teammate, if you're 2/10 off your teammate, that can be you out in Q1, that can be you out in Q2, and then the conditions change and the Ferrari liked it more. You know, it's impossible to say, but Hamilton, yeah, he had a tricky lap in Q2. Obviously, we'll talk about his reaction to it and everything, because I'm sure that he's probably feeling differently today. You know, it's what Hamilton does. He wears his heart on his sleeve like that. But, you know, if Hamilton was in final qualifying, maybe the Ferrari was in a better position. He might have been, you know, he probably would have been right up here with these guys. You never know. It's just, he was at in Q2, and it's not like Leclerc was flying in Q2. It's not like Leclerc was P1 the whole sessions. You know what I mean? So just such a wild day of qualifying. It looks like Aston are delivering a show with their new upgrade. I've got a quote from Fernando, and he said, do I have a quote from Fernando? I will try and find it. Here we go. Yeah, we do. The front wing, which is maybe the first race that we properly use the front wing, is giving us the extra load in the corners, and in Hungary that's very important. I think it's the third time, the Imola package, then the new floor in Silverstone, then the new front wing. The upgrades deliver exactly what we were expecting. That's encouraging for next year's project. So, you know, commendable for Fernando, first of all. Like, for him to stick at P5, less than a tenth off pole is, it was just over a tenth off pole. Mega from him, really, really cool after the back injury that he seemingly had earlier in the weekends. But Aston Martin may be figuring something out, right? Like, I think this is why, if you're Max, it's sensible to be patient with where you go next year. Like, do you want to go to Mercedes? They're still a bit all over the place. And Aston Martin are showing, they're showing a bit of momentum, putting together a car that seems kind of capable of doing some things. And maybe Newey's influenced that, maybe he hasn't. But, you know, even if he's not influenced it, it's still a good sign that they've been able to do something. Ethan, double McLaren DNF today. Look, it's a long run down to turn one. Turn one is going to be dramatic. It always tends to be in Hungary. Like, turn one is always very interesting in Hungary. So I am definitely expecting some fireworks. I think that, you know, Piastri should make sure that he's careful. It's okay if he's not leading out of turn one. There's also something to note. I know that I did look at the weather, and I'll just bring it up again for you guys if you guys are just joining. And again, it's probably not the best weather radar you're ever going to find, but I'll just let it play out real quick. One thing that is worth keeping in mind is, cool, it looks like it might rain, you know. It honestly might. It says rain starting in 3 minutes and then nothing for a little bit. Okay, whatever. But, so, Kim Willman did a video and they've built a new grandstand, right? So there's a brand new grandstand on the start-finish straight. And it blocks out the sun from half of the grid and not for the other half of the grid. So if it's going to be sunny, which I don't think it is, it's probably not going to matter, but it's just something to think about, that the right-hand side of the grid, which is where P2 starts from, I think, that is might be in the sun and the other side's in the shade, and that would make a difference in terms of, you know, track setup. But it does look like it might rain. It might only rain a little bit, but I'm hoping we at least get the race to start. After that, you know, we do what we like. We'll talk about Red Bull. We will talk about Hamilton, all that stuff as well. But yeah, just to kind of finish on Aston Martin, Stroll P6, Alonso P5. Russell kind of came from nowhere. I think it was an interesting session because the Mercedes did not look very fast. Antonelli looked much more comfortable, but then when it actually mattered in the final part of Q2, had a scruffy lap, was two on the edge. I think Antonelli his driving style just isn't as good with ground effect, in my opinion. Like, there's certain drivers I watch them drive, and he really likes to hustle the car, you know, and maybe it's like a rookie tendency on some level. But when I watch Antonelli drive, I just don't think that these cars are to the best of his style. Like, I think he will be a lot better next year, is my take. Because I think he'll get better because he's obviously had time at F1. But I don't know, Antonelli really likes to try and wring the ragged edge out of the car, right? Take it to the absolute limit, be like right on the line. And these cars just don't really like that so much. So I think that Antonelli will only get better. But that's just, I don't know, that's just my feeling on it anyway. Because we've seen this a bit too often. Like, when you watch Antonelli have a lap, he's just so... It looks like he's driving the cars from back in 2012, you know, when the cars were good. Rather than the boats that we have today that need to be driven differently. Even Lando said it. He was like, look... At the start of the season, I was trying to drive the car 100%. I should have been trying to drive it 95. The car goes quicker. And it's like, do we really want cars that go quicker when they're not driven at the limit? Like, is that really the era that we're in? Because back in the good old days, you know, the drivers would just wring the necks out of these cars, and that was how to get the most performance. You've got Ayrton Senna drifting cars through corners because that was the best way to drive them, right? Not the case today. Thank you, Jay, for funsies for the 10 USD. Best race pre-show on YouTube. We try our best. We do try our best. But thank you very much for the support on the stream. Nearly got 100 likes in here. We've got like 735 viewers. Not a bad start. We're 15 minutes in. Can Russell do anything today? If he was on pole, yeah. But overtaking around here is difficult. The dirty air is only getting worse. I don't know. It's tough to imagine. Look, if I had to put money on it, I'm saying Piastri, Norris, P1, P2, right? Like, I'm going to be boring. But their race pace is probably going to be different gravy. They probably just drive off into the distance. Yeah, TC, I agree. I think Kimi and Hamilton have like kind of similar, and they even said that themselves. Like, I think they're pretty similar. So, and maybe it's not a massive coincidence that Antonelli and Hamilton have both, like, they've had a few weekends where they've kind of both struggled at the same time. Like, I don't think that's a massive coincidence personally. Not to say that they aren't still very talented. Like, obviously with Hamilton, it's an interesting question because of what he said yesterday about being useless and they should get another driver in or whatever. Like, there's no way Hamilton really believes that. It's just that, like, he did this last year as well. He gets into these depressing spirals after the races, after the qualifying. So it's understandable when your teammates just put it on pole, but there was equally a world in which the conditions didn't change in Q3 and Leclerc was 5th and Hamilton's like, well, you know, just tough, right? It's just because Leclerc put it on pole, Hamilton's going to get frustrated. But it's not like Hamilton's massively washed up. Like, he's just not as good as he was, and he's driving cars that don't suit him that well, and he's struggling to adapt because he's 40, and he's driving against like the fastest driver on the grid in some respects at the team that, you know, he's been at for several years in Charles Leclerc. So, you know, I think it's difficult for Hamilton because he's at Ferrari against Leclerc. Like, as much as I will give a lot of credit to Alonso, and I think Stroll, you guys know that I've got a bit of a soft spot for Stroll, just because I think he gets a little bit overhated. But, like, Stroll's not very good, right? Like, I'm not going to pretend that he's great. Alonso is teaming against Stroll, so he gets to, you know, Alonso gets to stat pad a bit on Stroll. If Hamilton was in Aston Martin, he'd be doing this, you know what I mean? He'd be stat padding on Stroll. But obviously Hamilton has bigger ambitions, right? So we'll see. Stroll win if it rains. I mean, look, I will be there for a Leclerc Piastri turn 1 crash and a Stroll podium. You know, I will be there. I will be there for a Stroll podium. But, like, let's not forget, it was only a week ago where Hamilton was making all these passes in the rain, looked like the drive with loads of confidence. And, yeah, he'd also messed up his quali lap, but it wasn't like he was slow. He made too many mistakes. I don't disagree awkwardly on... He's been out in Q1, Q2. I don't know if regularly is fair, but, like, definitely far more often than he should be, right? And that is the primary issue, but... It's also not like this Ferrari is a great quali car either, right? Like, it's been a big weakness. If we were back in 2023, when the Ferrari was a rocket ship in qualifying, then I think it would be, you know, Hamilton would be in a much better spot because he'd consistently be top 4, top 3 in qualifying, and then he'd be fighting from there, right? So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. You guys may have your own opinions. I'm also trying to watch the swimming as well here at the same time, so I'm just going to keep a small little eye on that. Okay, the men's 400 medley. Oh, Marchand did swim the 400 medley. He probably won it. Okay, whatever. Let's stop talking about swimming. We did all that yesterday. Is it going to rain? Good question. People want to know what the weather forecast is. Okay, you know what? I'm going to check Twitter. I'm going to see what the people on Twitter are saying. And while I do that, I'm going to bring up the weather forecast again to play it out for you guys. So, yeah, here it is. We've got... So... This 3 p.m. local time is race start, right? So, yeah, now it says 2 p.m. local time, roughly. And then expecting that maybe around about race start time, there could be a bit of rain rolling in. I don't know. I don't know what the broadcast is saying. Let me know what the broadcast is saying about whether there's actually rain coming in or whether this is all just fake news. So, we'll see. What do you watch your swimming on? In the UK, you can watch it at britishswimming.org/live. It's on Eurovision Sport. The swimming's just free to watch. But today's the final day of finals, so I've just been keeping a small eye on that. So, yeah, interesting. Leclerc says, I don't understand why pole position is on the left here. It's normally on the right. So that is interesting. I will also say, in the F2 earlier, they didn't do a standing start. They did a rolling start, which was kind of confusing to me. But I think it was because there were differences in grip on each side of the track. So that's why they did it, which maybe there's some logic in that, I suppose. But yeah, so anyway, this is what the radar said. The radar does say it's going to rain, doesn't it? Like, there's no other way to look at this, right? And let me find the track again. Is it here? Yeah, it's here. So, yeah, the radar says when the race is about to begin at about 3, it might rain shortly after. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's all I'm saying. I don't know if the weather radar's any good or not, but just going to put it out there that it could be raining today. So we'll come back to that in a second. It says 60% chance of rain during the race. We'll see. I watch on Sky F1 because, I don't know, it's just how it is in the UK. It's actually kind of crazy, right? That like in the UK we just get hoed so bad because Sky own all the rights. It is possible to watch on F1 TV, but it's not the same as being around the world. A couple of other things. Oh, yeah, here we go. Local weather radar. Based on current progression of 40-50 kilometers an hour, it may reach the circuit towards the end or after the race. Okay, we need anyone who lives southwest of Budapest to like just get the fans out and blow really hard because we need that rain to come. Could you imagine if it starts raining with like 10 laps to go? Be great. I love the end, like when there's a race that's ending, like Sochi, right? Sochi 2021, the race is about to end and some drivers might try and hold out on the slicks and other drivers will go to the inters and it's like, oh, those are such good ends to the race, you know, because sometimes one car can be like 15 seconds a lap quicker than another car if they've got the wrong tyres on. And then it you know, shows things around all rather quick. Don't get the fans out. McLaren will fall apart. We'll see about that. Yeah, obviously be careful out there, you know. Don't do anything too outrageous. I see Lando in the paddock. You know, speaking of Lando, I've got a comment to share, which I thought was quite insightful. Like, I really want to like Lando. I do like him. I don't have a problem with him. But, like, I'd really like to support him as, like, the next... Because, look, I will admit, I'm British. Obviously, I'm going to have a bit of British bias. I'd like the world champion to be British again. It would be nice. But, like, I just can't... I can't support this guy, right? Like, I mean, look at this. And I know that the comments here are a little bit... The comment that was led with in the media was, no one's going to care, we'll all be dead, right? That was the comment that was led with. Now, it's a bit more nuanced than that, because what Lando is saying here is that he's not going to, like, deliberately cause antagonism with his teammates in order to win the title, right? That's what he's trying to say. Like, he's not going to make little comments and, like, just basically play the political game to win the championship. But the way that he says it is still just very Lando, right? He's like, he's adopted the Max gimmick. You guys remember when Max said the other week about how, well, they were asking him, is he going to drive for Mercedes? Oh, we've got another donkey in the chat that needs to get banned. Nice try. Nice try, buddy. Hide user on the channel. And he's gone. Anyway, so probably be back with a different account in a second. But Max made the comment about, oh, am I going to drive for Mercedes next year? And then he was like, well, I might not drive to anyone because I might not drive for anyone because I am, you know, like, I might not wake up tomorrow. That's what he said, didn't he? And then Lando's dropping this whole, like, in 200 years, no one's going to care. Well, no one alive today is going to care because they'll be dead. But history will either look back on you as a world champion or not. And surely that's what matters. And obviously Lando knows this matters. Like, there's very few men in history that are talented enough and have had the right life circumstances and end up in the right team, in the right car at the right time to win a championship. And there may never be another opportunity to win a championship. I just like, I don't know, man. I agree with Foodie. Like, I don't really like these statements because it's like, does this sport matter or not, right? Like, you realise that there's fans that come to watch you here week in, week out to see you win or to see your team win or to see their team win, whatever the case is. Like, it obviously matters, right? Like, don't try and pretend that it doesn't matter. Like, what is this nihilistic, no one cares, we'll all be dead in 200 years anyway, right? Like, is that some sort of excuse when you bottle the championship? Like, I don't know. Obviously, he goes in to say, I still care about it, I'm disappointed, I'm angry, whatever, but it doesn't mean I need to take it out on Oscar. I don't get into those kind of things. Piastri's the guy that I want to beat more than anyone, but if I don't beat him, that's because he's done a better job. I'll do it the way that I believe is best for me. You know, fair enough. It's maybe not the most outrageous comment ever, but it's like, I just want a bit more fight, you know? Like, we're never going to see... I don't know. I think as a fan of the sport, I would like this to be like 2016, right? Just absolute warfare between the two drivers. And Piastri's built like that. Like, if there were two Piastris, it would be like that, you know? And I don't think that Lando doesn't have it in him. And maybe you're right, Anthony. I think it's actually a reasonable point about, like, you know, his mindset, trying to make sure that he doesn't feel the pressure as much. I don't know. But I still don't think it's the right approach. Because you've got to want to beat your teammate more than anything. Especially when it's so 1 versus 1 at this point. I want him to be really annoyed. Like, he got out-qualified by Piastri yesterday. I want him to be really annoyed about it. Like, I want him to be beating himself up about it. Because Piastri does. When Piastri lost the win in Silverstone, he was furious at the decision, probably at himself afterwards. And you guys remember when Lando last year, when he crashed with Max in Austria, and he was like, if Max doesn't apologize, he's not my friend anymore. And I was like, great, that's what I want to hear, right? Like, that shows that Lando's got some minerals. Like, Lando cares. Like, Lando's willing, and then guess what happened? He backed down, right? Max didn't apologize, and then next weekend Lando was like, well, it's fine. It's like, okay, I get it, but come on, right? I don't know. It just annoys me a bit because I want this title battle to have teeth, and right now it doesn't have teeth as it probably should. But not to say that couldn't change, right? As I say, all that has to happen is we get an Austria from last year that happens again. We get a bit of drama, and anything goes. So I'm going to keep an eye on the weather radar, by the way, because I might have to put rain in the title of the stream because it looks like it may... You know, I think I'm going to do it because it does look like it might well rain at this point. We're going to throw it in there. Can't help myself. So anyway, that's just my take on Lando versus Oscar. Yeah, I agree it's better to win with integrity, but what matters most is to win. To be honest, like I don't know, like, that's my opinion. Look, do you want to throw your teammate under the bus and win by dodgy tactics? No, it's obviously better not to. But if you have to get political with it, if you have to, I don't know, like, I want to support drivers who try and win at all costs. I think that's how the great champions in F1 are, to be honest. And I think that the best champions are selfish in that way. But that's my take on it anyway. But we'll see it if it stays, right? Because especially if Lando outscores him today, then, I mean, it's still all to play for anyway. But, yeah, I just want to see it. I want to see it go down to Abu Dhabi, right? We need a heated WDC fight, not this lover boy apology fight. I think it will get there eventually. Bro's doing so. It's interesting how people have different opinions on this, because I'm pretty aggressive in my opinions on this. Like I like winners, right? That's just how it is. And Lando just doesn't strike me as a winner. So, it's just my take. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but we'll see. We'll see. I'd like him to prove me wrong. I really would, because I'd like a British champion. But if I compare Lando and George, it really is just they're two totally different persons. Like, how many Grand Prix has George won? Not as many as Lando, but George is more of a winner than Lando, no doubt. In my head, no doubt. Stroll, no, that's a winner. Stroll, yeah, that guy is a winner. So we'll see. But yes, for those joining, asking about the rain, of which there may be some of you, then let's have a quick look at the weather radar, because we are T-minus 30 minutes roughly until the start of the Grand Prix. This is the band of rain working its way in from the southwest, and look at this. 3 p.m. is race starts, and it looks like this. The track, by the way, is up here, if you guys are unfamiliar. Is the track here? There it is, Hungaroring, in rain, and as time goes on, maybe even some more rain as well. Yeah, look at that. I mean, I don't know, this website is a bit glitchy, right? Like, I don't know what's going on here, but all I'm saying is that there is a good chance that we get some rain here. They better not bloody delay it for 3 hours or like 2 hours. I'm going to be fuming. And maybe Hamilton makes some good passes in the rain and he can get another driver of the day. We'll see. We'll see about that. As you're saying, when Lando doesn't have the edge of them, you don't get a good rivalry that all fans want to see. Delulu about Stroll. Do you think he gets more hate than others, though? Lewis, when he's depressing, he gets wearing his heart on his sleeve. When Lando does it, he's a loser. Yeah, maybe. But, like, Hamilton's clearly not a loser, right? I think there's a dichotomy there, because Hamilton's won 7 world titles and 104 Grand Prix. 105, actually. So, and everyone knows that Hamilton, in his prime, was, like, an absolute dog, right? Like, this guy wanted to crush the opposition and did. Like, he was part of the Hamilton-Rosberg rivalry and won it 2 out of 3 times. And he was part of the Verstappen rivalry. Like, there's no, I don't know. Yeah, okay, Hamilton can wear his heart on his sleeve and get a pass because he's achieved what he's achieved, right? Lando's not achieved what he should have done, probably with the car that he's had. I don't know, that's my take. But I do agree, like, I do think Lando gets dealt a difficult hand sometimes. But I also think that he brings it upon himself, right? And I don't really have any sympathy for drivers, because you get paid millions of dollars to drive a fast car in the public eye. You're going to get criticized. It's part of the sport, right? And look, Lando turns off his social media and he probably deals with it better than he has done before. But it's just life of being a top-level sportsman, right? And you've got to find a way to deal with that properly, because there have been plenty of athletes in history who have had all the talent and the ability, but not put it all together when it matters. And those are the athletes that aren't remembered. So, or remembered for bad reasons. So tough to be too harsh, but like, I don't know. It's sport, right? At the end of the day, it's sport. We're here to be entertained. So that's kind of the point. So, you know what? We do have to talk about Red Bull before I keep yapping on about mentality. Because what the hell happened with Red Bull this weekend? It's been an absolute mess. Look at this, by the way. These were the deltas, like average deltas across the qualifying sessions. The McLaren boys obviously basically neck and neck. Leclerc was only a tenth and a bit faster than Hamilton on average. These were the rough gaps between the drivers. Verstappen, 1.7 tenths up on Tsunoda. And that was enough to stick Yuki out in Q1. And it's really crazy, actually, this stat. I'll just bring up this is from Max, but I'll just bring up the Yuki getting eliminated tweet, because it was just kind of sad. Where is it? Hang on a second. I think I've got it here somewhere. So Yuki was out in Q1, and he was the closest to anyone that Max has been at this track since 2017, I think. I think it's been near enough a decade since, I guess, Ricciardo was closer to Max than Yuki was yesterday, right? So, like, Yuki did the best job that any Red Bull driver has done against Max in a long time, technically in qualifying, and was out in Q1. So, like, you know, it is unfortunate. It is very unfortunate for Yuki. I mean, it's undoubted, really, that the Racing Bull on some weekends is a faster car. Like, it just has to be true. Is the Red Bull the 7th quickest car or something? Some weekends it is. It's got to be. It's got to be. Some weekends it is. So it's really unfortunate for Yuki. He's also, by the way, starting today from the pit lane. I don't know if you guys saw that floating around, but that's been confirmed. So Yuki's going to start from the pit lane because they've just done what they did with Hamilton, and they've just thrown everything new in there. So they've got a new ICE, they've got a new turbo, they've got a new MGUH, they've got a new MGUK, they've got a new exhaust. So they're throwing everything new in the car. They're just going to start in from the pit lane. Guess it's a good opportunity to do it. Try and come back stronger after the summer break. I guess that's going to be the plan. But yeah, I think Big Bean, you're absolutely right. I would love to see one weekends where they put Max in the V-carb and we just see how he gets on, right? It'd be so interesting to know how that would transpire. And it's also got to be said that, like, look, hate on Jos Verstappen all you like, but the Verstappen camp are right to be critical of Pierre Wache and his technical team, because does this clown have any idea what he's doing, right? Like, let's be real here. I mean, you know, I've got another graphic for you, by the way. This is a particularly damning one. So this is qualifying 25 to 24, and obviously the conditions are a little bit different, right? Like last year, Alpine had a terrible time in Q1 mixed conditions, so they're kind of an outlier here. But Aston Martin improved by 9 tenths, Sauber by 8 tenths, Williams by 8 tenths, Mercedes by 6.5 tenths, Racing Bulls by 6.5 tenths, Haas by 6 tenths, McLaren only 3 tenths, Ferrari only 3 tenths, but makes sense, of course, those cars were great last year. Red Bull, slower, by 3 tenths, right? So, like, of all, you would at least expect Red Bull to have improved by a couple of tenths, maybe a tenth, bare minimum be as fast as last year. But no, Red Bull was slower than last year by a pretty substantial amount of time, right? So that's what it looked like yesterday. And, well, today we'll see what it looks like very shortly. So it's not raining right now, just for those interested, but it does, I don't know, I'm just going to keep refreshing the timeline here because it looks like rain could well be coming at this point. And if it is, then hopefully the FIA makes some good decisions, because if it's wetter on one side of the grid than the other, then we might have a standing start. And I don't really think anyone wants a rolling start, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Aston, you got to tip it. Stroll qualified P6 in the 11th fastest car. Damn right. That's my go. Still only 3 tenths of pole, shows how good the car last year was. Yeah, like, I mean, look, both the RB20 and the RB21 have been quite, I mean, how do I say it? Bipolar? It's probably not the right word. But, you know, it's not like the car is always slow. I just find it very interesting that, like, Max can drag performance out of cars, but he can't take a shit box to the top, right? It is what it is. And I think it also shows that when Max does deliver great performances in the Red Bull, the car is capable of it. It's not like Max is dragging a 2020 Williams to the top, right? Like, the car is obviously capable. That's just my opinion. But obviously Max is still sensational. Do I have any information on the McLarens being more wind affected than others? Honestly, no. I don't have any information on it. All I know is that that's basically what De Kessler said. Maybe it seemed to affect their top speed more than others as well. I mean, they were down 10 kph in the first sector because of the wind change, which presumably affected, because they run a bit more downforce generally. Their car's a bit more draggy. So it seems like the wind change affected their top speed more, whereas the Ferrari, Leclerc was running a bit lower downforce. He was able to gain quite a lot in the first sector, especially compared to the McLarens. So that's pretty much what we saw yesterday, I think. Carl says, excited for Behrman to get P11. You know what? Let's look at the starting grid. Where did Behrman line up again after qualifying yesterday? He is lining up 11th. So there we go. It's a great job for Behrman. He's got to be fuming at this point, right? But look, at least he qualified respectably. I think Behrman can score points today, but obviously Hamilton's right behind him. Sainz is up there in a Williams. Antonelli's behind him. Tsunoda. So, you got to tip it, right? But another great quali performance out of Ollie Behrman to dunk a few tenths on Ocon's head. I don't know. I'm just saying. I was gassing up Behrman yesterday, and I think for good reason. The two Racing Bulls in 9th and 10th, Max in P8. Great quali out of Bortoletto. He was, probably the star of yesterday, apart from Leclerc, really. Getting another Q3. Just mega from him, honestly so impressive. And yeah, the Sauber isn't as bad as it was, but still pretty good. Yeah, Colm says, can we get your ranking of the rookies? It's honestly really difficult to rank them. I think Hadjar has to be first. What do you guys think? Rookie ranking. We've got about 20 minutes to go. I'll get some predictions in the chat in a second, but just before we get there, we'll do a little rookie ranking of the season where we look at the starting grids and we keep a close eye on the weather forecast here and whether it's going to affect things at the start of the Grand Prix, because, we certainly hope that it does. But I guess you've got to say Hadjar first. Second is probably Bortoletto now, I would say. Given what's happened recently, I think he's probably done enough. I kind of want to put Behrman third. I would have put Antonelli there, and maybe I still will, but it's just his last half of his season has just been bad. If you were basing this on the first half of the season, certainly including Miami, then I would put Antonelli third. I might put Behrman there instead, something like that. It's pretty clear that Doohan obviously didn't get much time, and Lawson's just not been that good. So yeah, I think that's roughly the order. I think it's definitely Hadjar Bortoletto right now, I would say, and then probably I would have Behrman and Antonelli tied. But yeah, don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? Intrigued to your thoughts on that. Okay, let's run a little poll in the chat. What we're going to do is we're going to say who wins, and we're going to do teams. So we're going to do McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, I guess, and then Aston. Unless you think Max is winning. Is Max going to win? No, I'm not putting Max in there. I didn't put Max in the discussion yesterday for poll. And he wasn't on pole, so I'm not going to put him today to win, because I just don't think it's possible, really. What is possible is So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna narrow it down the teams, and then I'm going to, as a result of that, narrow down the drivers that I'll put in to the poll, to the final poll that we do. Alonso wins after 4,563 days. Run a poll. Yeah, we're doing a poll. All good. Can Max leave Red Bull if he's fourth after the year ends? Rumour is that he can leave if he's third after the year ends. That was what the rumour said. But it's plausible. Well, he said he's going to stay. So I don't think that's going to be any different personally. But we'll see. Just a quick look back at the weather forecast. We'll see what's going on here. So we've got about 20 minutes until lights out. And if I hit the play button on this, then we'll see rain coming in, hitting the track. Well, I mean, it's surely this is going to rain, right? Like halfway through the race, the track is here. There it is. So maybe 30 minutes in, it starts raining. It's going to be interesting to see what the teams do. Like if it's going to rain about 25, 30 minutes in, then what tires do you start on, right? I guess you start on the mediums, you just make them last. You just start on the mediums and you try and do like 20, 25 laps. Maybe that's the play. Probably that's what you do. But also there's always this debate, isn't there? Like if the rain is coming, but the rain's coming a bit slower than you think, then should you Should you start on the hards, make sure you make it to the rain? Is there going to be a crash at turn 1? That's another very good question. Thanks for all the support on the stream, by the way. About 1,000 of you guys in here. 1-2 for kick. Yeah, so we'll see about that. All right, I'll end the poll. Most of you guys has McLaren winning, then Ferrari, then Aston. So I'm going to say... Well, to be fair, yesterday the poll we did was Norris, Piastri, Leclerc and Hamilton. And Leclerc got 7% of the vote for pole position. I don't really think I can put Hamilton in here in good faith, so I'm going to put Alonso in instead. And you guys can... Maybe I should put Russell in. I should put Russell in, shouldn't I? I have to put Russell in, I think. I can only do 4, so I'm just going to do that. See what you guys think about it, because I will say, and I'll do another poll on this after this probably, about whether there's going to be some sort of crash, some sort of turn 1 incident, a little incident of the race. Shout out Charles. Maybe, I mean, it's possible, right? Especially if it rains. I can see some sort of drama. I can see a lot of drama. Look, my money's on Piastri. It just is what it is at this point. Feels like betting on Max in 2023, but, you know, he's a little bit too inevitable right now. He just feels that way, but I wouldn't say it's at all guaranteed, because it's not like Max in 23, obviously. It's not to that extent. But it is, yeah, I mean, look at this, man. It's like, it's got rain all over the shop here. And green is just light rain, obviously. If it's red, then it's heavy. But there is a rainstorm moving in right now. There is a rainstorm definitely moving in. I want to see what Twitter has to say. No one's really talking about it. Okay, I've got Meteo reports saying, as of 14:30 local time, there's an isolated shower. Behind that, a large cluster of showers. Maybe it's not as close as this weather radar makes it look. I've got this tweet here from presumably a better weather report. I don't know, but it's definitely coming, right? The question is when it arrives. I think that's what we're looking at right now. Stroll maiden win if there is rain. Russell does nothing and gets podium. Wet race guaranteed. I just wouldn't trust, like, the weather data radar that I was on. I don't trust it as much as I trust this. Like, this just looks a bit more professional, right? And it's from an account that does weather reports for Grand Prix. So it's got to be right, hasn't it? It's got to be right. And he's saying that this is 60 kilometers southwest of the circuit. But, I mean, 60 kilometers, it's kind of a long way, no? Isn't that a long way? Like, wouldn't that have to be a lot of winds? Surely that'd be a lot of winds. Okay, whatever. We might get rain. It may come before... It probably isn't going to come at the start of the race. Let's just say that. It doesn't look like it's going to be 15 minutes time, but hopefully it arrives by the end of the Grand Prix. That would be pretty spectacular. Everyone thought Max was going to overtake Charles last week. Didn't happen. Maybe a good day for Ferrari. I think Leclerc can hold them off. I actually do think he can. It would be a defensive masterclass, but I think it's possible. Maybe he makes them cook their tyres. Also not impossible. Okay, let's end the poll, see what you guys said. Piastri, 54%, Leclerc, 24%, Russell, 14%, Russell or Norris, 14%, Russell, 6% to win the Grand Prix. Looks like in 15 minutes or so. Use windy website. Windy weather. Okay, let me try this. Hungary, Budapest. I'll try and find another one here. Oh, look at this. This is quite the sight. Okay, all right, I'm bringing this up on stream here. Windy.com. Okay, so we are in Budapest. This is the Hungaroring. And how do I make it go forward in time? 1,500 hours? I don't know if it's going to rain. I've only got wind on. Can I go rain? Weather radar? Okay, here we go. Okay, oh my god, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Okay, so this is at the current hour. What if I fast forward one more hour? You guys can see this? Yeah, you guys can see this just about. Let me go forward one more hour or something. Can I drag this? Okay, I'm clearly not great at using this site. Oh no, I can go forward. Here we go. Here we go. I can play it out. Oh my god, this is so sick. Okay, so this is in. Oh, come on, keep going. The wind. We need to keep going. The track is there. Oh, all right. It says in an hour's time. This is apparently what it's going to look like in an hour. So in an hour, I mean, how many laps do we have at this race? It's a lot, isn't it? The track's only about 4 kilometers long, so it's a lot of laps. We might get rain. I don't know. Should I show lightning? Show lightning? Oh no, I've turned that off or something. I don't know. Okay, there you go. So I trust this more than the other one. Windy is what F1 teams use for radar. Hell yeah. Okay, it's great. Thank you for the shout, chat. This is great. We will use this on the upcoming weekends as well. No doubt about it. When it's gonna rain. So okay, this is all we can share for now. That in roughly an hour's time, windy.com is telling me that there's going to be rain. I mean, look, that's literally the track right there. That is the track. And it says it's going to be caught on the edge. And if we get another 30 minutes, if there's a couple of safety cars, maybe use rainfall filter. Oh yeah, rain and thunder. Is that better? Oh, look at that. Interesting. Okay, hang on. I play this out. Oh no, I've gone too fast there. Rainfall filter seems a bit too finicky to make it work. That's okay, I'll go back to the other one. I'll go back to weather radar. That's okay, that's fine. You guys get the picture. Presumably that's rain anyway. So, that's what it looks like. Yeah, thanks for, I think we got like 81,300 subs or something the other day. So that was much appreciated. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate it. We're on the road to 100k, maybe by the end of the year, we'll see. Yeah, I think it's going to be a dry start, right? It's going to be a dry start. But I know there's like 50% of you guys out there watching that aren't yet subscribed. I don't really care. Like, subscribers don't really matter that much to YouTubers. YouTubers love to tell you to subscribe. But really, as far as I'm concerned, it's like, I would like to get another plaque like this. That's really what it's about. Because it doesn't, for YouTube, it doesn't really matter that much. Liking the video is more important. Because it like sends it to new people. Subscribing is also relevant, but people just do it because it's like, it's a good metric. People like to see number go up, right? That's what it is. But it doesn't, like, people think, oh, if you subscribe, like, they get more money, right? It's not how it works. The money is dependent on views. But subscribers is good because then some sponsors will only work with you if you have a certain amount of subscribers, right? So, you know, it's kind of a cheese game that we play on YouTube, but it is what it is. Okay, I see Oscar Piastri walking into the garage. I'm not seeing any umbrellas at the track. Unfortunate. We need to get that wind rolling right now. Can the FIA just delay the race for no reason for 30 minutes? That would be good. Hope it's buckets at lap 25. Yeah, I think, I don't know. It looks to me, based on windy.com, that, yeah, so it's 30. So this is half an hour into the race. Oh, it's looking pretty good, I can't lie. It's looking pretty tasty. Oh, we might miss it though, you know, it might miss it. We might only get this little shower. Might not even be a shower. That's going to be in like an hour's time. See, I don't think the teams are going to be able to last that long on one stint, right? I reckon they're going to start mediums. Oh, here we go. We've got weather radar on the screen on Sky Sports, and they see nothing. No rain, apparently. But my top quality weather radar says differently. So you guys may or may not disagree. Yeah, interesting for Mike, actually. Russell Cold Weather Masterclass. That's a good take, actually, I think. That's a pretty good take. Maybe today could be Mercedes' day. The issue is overtaking, right? Like, are you going to overtake a McLaren? I mean, good luck, I suppose. You could do it. You could do it. Thanks, Alice, for the $2 Canadian. Much appreciated. They said rain is on the way. Yeah, rain is undoubtedly on the way. I followed you, not knowing not knowing a speck of COD history. You're a top tier F1 content creator as well, as far as I'm concerned. Much appreciated. We try our best, keep the people informed. Hopefully we start on the hard. I think that is the outside strategy, right? That is the outside strategy, is to start on the hard and then just like, inshallah, send it until it rains. And you know, you might save 20 seconds by doing that. Could be a strategy. I think it's definitely a good strategy. And the hard tyre, I think, looked reasonable in the practice to some degree. But, yeah, not so sure. Ferrari will keep Leclerc out, saying that it's only a short shower and that it will downpour. Yeah. You remember when, like, Sainz, he had that whole red, it was like red, yellow, green or whatever rain that they were calling it. So, like, that's what they were doing. Like, maybe that was better than... You know, they like class 1, class 2, class 3 and all that, don't they? But, yeah, the hard looked okay in practice. I agree. I think teams could get away with that. But also maybe you say, all right, the rain's only coming in an hour. So I can fast forward this and then another... Oh, can I go... Oh, windy premium. I ain't got that type of bread. We're just going to stick with the 1 hour wind, 1 hour radar report. So in 1 hour's time... I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. We'll see. There's rain coming. It's just, it might arrive too late to be impactful. It's going to be one of those where, like, if they say it on the broadcast, if they say, oh, the rain's coming, guys, then usually what that means is the rain's never going to come. We know how it goes, right? We know how it goes. In the past, I've seen Red Bull do their magic where they have a bad Friday, put it together on Saturday. Do you think them not putting it together is due to Horner's absence? Honestly, it may have a small part to play. I don't think that's a major thing, but I will say that there's been lots of talk about Horner, and let me just zoom in on Budapest here so people know what's going on while I just yap for a second. But Horner had a lot of loyalists, right? Like, there were lots of people, and there still are at Red Bull, that big fans of Horner, very loyal to his leadership, and I think there will be certain individuals at that team who are not putting in the same effort. They will not go to the extent that they would go to with Horner there. So I think there's going to be a serious rebuilding process required at Red Bull. I don't think that some of the employees are going to be pulling the same long hours they would for McKees than they would for Horner's leadership. That's just my opinion. So, not to say that the guys in the simulator team weren't still putting in the work, because I'm sure that they were last night to try and figure the car out, but if Red Bull aren't quite as effective at turning things around, it might have something to do with Horner being gone. I wouldn't say it's impossible. Okay, gentlemen, the Grand Prix is about to start. I'm going to go and make a cup of tea, and then I'm going to watch the Grand Prix. And with any luck, it might rain in about half an hour's time, and we might have a sensational Grand Prix on our hands. By the way, hopefully it's a good one before the start of the summer break. See if Leclerc can hold on for the win. Thanks for joining me today. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. It doesn't actually matter now. You don't need to hit the like button anymore because the stream's basically over. If you want to subscribe, feel free to do so. It would be appreciated. And yeah, enjoy the race. I'll be back in a couple of hours to tell you guys what happened. So thanks for watching. See you in a little bit.